Okay, now we're going to continue our work with polynomials, and we're going to add and subtract polynomials. Okay, so let's say I have two polynomials, 3x squared plus 2x plus 7 and 5x squared minus 6x plus 10, and I want to add them together. So here, the first thing I want to point out is that these parentheses are not multiplication like we're used to. It's just a way of showing where one polynomial ends and the other begins. It's a way of indicating I'm taking two different expressions that used to be separate and I'm putting them together. So it's just a tool for organizing. All right. In this case, though, they're not really mathematically doing anything for us, so I'm going to go ahead and ignore them in this problem, and I'm going to rewrite this so that my like terms are next to each other. So I have a 3x squared, and then in this I have a 5x squared. So I can write that here. And then I have a 2x plus 2x. And I have a negative 6x minus 6x, and now I have a 7 plus 7, and I have a 10 plus 10. Okay, and now I'm going to combine my like terms. Remember, like terms have the same letter, the same variable, and the same exponent. So x squared and x squared, these are like terms, so I can put those together. I have 3 of them. I'm adding 5 more of them, so I have a total of 8 x squareds. Then I have 2x minus 6x, so that's a negative 4x. And I have 7 plus 10, so that's a positive 17, and that's my answer. The other way that we could organize this, if you recall from your beginning years of learning, we can write addition across the page like we did here, or we could write addition down the page. So I'm going to show you how to do this other way with polynomials as well. So if I have my two polynomials, I can take the first one and put that on top, and then add my 5x squared minus 6x plus 10, and just add them together. So here I have 8x squareds. Here I have negative 4x. 2 plus negative 6 is negative 4. And 7 plus 10 is positive 17. So there's my solution. It doesn't really matter which method you use. It's completely up to you. Whatever feels right for your brain will work. Let's make sure that's centered right. And then next example, let's do one where we're subtracting. So now I have 5, oh, I didn't let it dry long enough. 5x squared plus 7x minus 2 minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 12. All right, so this time the parentheses are doing one thing, and that is they're letting us know when we subtract, we have to subtract this whole second piece, which means each piece within these parentheses gets that negative. So I'm going to rewrite this. This first part stays the same. It doesn't have a negative in front. And now here I have negative 4x squared. Negative times a negative is positive 3x, and the negative times a positive is negative 12. And now I can rewrite this putting my like terms next to each other. So 5x squared minus 4x squared, and then I have 7x plus 3x, and then I have negative 2 minus 12. And then once I've put my like terms next to each other, I can combine them. This step is not necessary. You know, some people can just see it and do the math quickly and skip this step, but I think especially when you're beginning, it's helpful to organize it this way. It just makes it easier and make sure that you don't skip any pieces. So 5x squared minus 4x squared, that leaves us 1x squared. And then remember, 1 times x squared is just x squared, so we don't actually need to write the 1. We just know that we have one of them. Made a mess there. 7x plus 3x is 10 x's, and the negative 2 minus 12 is negative 14. So there's my solution. And then again, we can do it the other way, so I'll do it that way as well. So 5x squared plus 7x minus 2 minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 12. And I like to make my negative big and kind of put it off to the side so I know that this is a subtraction for this whole thing and not just that the 4x squared is negative. It's really easy if you write it like this. You're like, oh wait, this just goes with the 4. No, it goes with the entire second row. So now I have 5x squared minus 4x squared, which is that 1x squared, or x squared again. 7x minus negative 3x. Well, minus a negative, you do the opposite, so you add, so it's actually going to be 10x, and then negative 2 minus 12 is negative 14. So we get the same answer either way. This one can be a little more tricky because you have to be really sharp with your skills with negatives, but either way is going to get you there. And then our last example, x plus 7 plus 3x squared minus 12. Okay, so notice this has an x and this has an x squared, so this is a little different. We're adding, so I can just rewrite it. I'm going to rewrite things with my exponents in order and my like terms next to each other. I'm going to ignore the parentheses. So 3x squared, and then plus x plus 7 minus 12. All right, I only have one x squared term, so that's going to stay the same. I only have one x term, so that's going to stay the same, but I have 7 minus 12, so I can combine those. So 7 minus 12 is negative 5, and that is my answer. Or we can do it the other way. So if I have x plus 7, and I'm lining up my columns like I did here, when I have this 3x squared, it can't go under the x, it has to go over here. And then I have nothing under the x. So I can leave that blank. I like to put a placeholder there just to remind myself, and then negative 12. And we can actually put a placeholder here too to remind ourselves that this, just to make sure everything lines up properly. So we have our x squareds together, our x's together, our constants together. We are adding, and so 0 plus 3 is 3x squared. x1, 1x plus 0x's is just that 1x or x, and then 7 plus negative 12 is negative 5. So again, we get the same answer either way. Thank you.